welcome back to another episode.
I'm excited. I love these episodes.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
I love it. It's always something new, something fresh, something new every time.
I love it. And you come up with these amazing topics.
Thank you.
And the things that I don't even think about.
I think it's with my clients, and I look where they are at the planning, and I'm like, that'd be interesting to talk about, because if my clients have a question, that means maybe more people might have questions too on a certain topic, right?
You're right, 1,000,000%.
So it helps out a lot when to see where my clients are. And I'm like, that'd be a good topic for the next podcast episode.
Exactly. But it's too bad you weren't around when I I don't even know.
When you got married, who had event planners?
I know, exactly.
Who had wedding planners?
Times have changed. And just a side note, I was doing some research a while back, and apparently it was because of Martha Stewart that made wedding planners popular.
I would agree with that.
Really?
Yeah, I read somewhere, I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but I believe it was Martha Stewart that made it in.
Really?
And I think the first wedding planner, because of Martha Stewart's popularity, was Mindy Weiss.
Okay.
And she's based off, she's huge. Like, she's the epitome of a wedding planner. She's been doing it, I think, forever. And she plans for the celebrities and everyone.
Yeah.
So I think it's because of Martha Stewart, and then I think that's how Mindy Weiss got popular. I could be wrong, but that's just a little side note.
Oh, that's awesome.
Years ago, if you told a bride, "Hey, I can get you a wedding planner," she would punch you in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Because they
probably.
really wanted.
I believe you. Hands down.
I'm gonna plan my wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's
exactly.
great, but now times have changed.
Yeah, now we
course,
realize
of
that
course.
you run like a chicken without a head for the whole day and night and week.
Months, everything.
So you can have help.
It's a lot.
And colors and whatever. you have
it's a
to-
lot. So
It's crazy.
It's a lot. It's a lot of
It becomes heavy. It becomes
lot.
really heavy. Even though you think you can handle it, not a problem. Then you see the
You
list.
realize how much things have to be done in a certain way, a certain
Yeah.
pattern. And for today's topic,
Oh yes, what
Yes,
is it?
let's go.
Yes.
it's wedding stationery.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I didn't even realize that was
A
something
thing?
that would be on the list.
It plays
you have to write the list on
I
stationery.
know, but you overlook these things.
It's
Don't be such a
true.
smart one.
Come on, it's good.
But you think of the big things first, not the smaller, minute
most
things.
of the time it's like venue, photographer,
Yeah.
DJ, flowers, the dress, everything.
Yeah.
Songs, but most brides forget the stationery, like the paper goods.
Yeah.
In other words, so example, your save the dates.
It's true.
That's your first
Yeah.
paper good to send out, right?
Yep, yep.
So then you have and I always tell my clients that your save the date to send it by mail, because it feels like more real if you send it by mail, if that makes sense. I'm a big fan of getting things in the mail.
I love it.
It feels special, right?
I get excited with Amazon when they ring my doorbell. Like,
Here,
my son is here.
Tracking it is here, but
Yeah, exactly.
but that's the first thing that your guests will see, and it sets the tone for your wedding.
Oh, nice.
That's
Yeah.
like the first little piece of information they get.
Okay.
So example, let's say if your theme is blue, right?
Yeah.
Let's say baby blue or shades of blue.
Yeah.
So your stationery, your save the date might be like an undertone of a blue, or like
Oh.
little hints of blue, or like little floral patterns of blue, and usually a picture of you and your fiance, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe you don't want that. Maybe it's just without a picture, right? It depends.
Yeah.
But most save the dates do have a picture of some sort.
Oh, nice.
That's more common nowadays. And you could have it like a magnetic back so it sticks to your fridge. You could have it as an ornament. I've seen near Christmas time, if you celebrate the holidays, Christmas, they have like a little tree ornament with the date in the
that's
picture.
so cute.
So you could do a lot.
Oh, wow.
Times have changed, but it sets the tone for the actual wedding and the invite to follow.
Oh.
So now you sent out your save the date, everything's great. So now the fun part is the invite.
Yay.
So-
I love choosing. I love
So
choosing
you could
stuff.
do anything.
Yeah.
Of course, depending on your budget is very important. But there's a great stationery designer that I work with. Her name is Sarah from Over the Moon Paper Design. Shout out to her. She's by far the best.
Oh, nice.
She does custom work, and she does great. She makes magic happen with the stationery. So she creates everything. But besides the point, I had to just shout her out there because she's she's just an amazing person to work with, and without her, my clients and even myself, we wouldn't have amazing like invites, save the date. You give her an idea, she'll make it happen.
Nice.
So back to wedding invites. You could do a lot. You could do something a little more elegant, like with your theme, and that's why theme is important.
Oh, you have to have your theme already.
You have to have your theme before.
Yeah.
So you could basically, based on the colors, the theme, you can make your wedding day invite make sense, because then that's the other clue that you give your guest on the theme.
Yeah.
Let's say if your theme is, let's go with the blue theme, right? Let's say your theme is blue or by the beach. Example.
Nice.
Right? Because the blue hints to, let's say, a beach. Let's just say, right? Or
Honeymoon.
water. So that's the theme. You could, so let's say you like flowers or certain flowers, you could have like embellishment of flowers, foil stamp, and usually on the invite, so like on the envelope or even on the return for the return address, you have your logo for your wedding.
Oh.
So it's like, let's say your initials or, you know, some logo. More and more couples are opting for that, for like the personalization, their logo.
So they're branding. Now they're branding.
They're branding for their wedding. So let's say your logo is on the box for the invite or the envelope when you just get it. It's on the return address, you know, for the RSVP cards. You could put it anywhere, the logo, but it has to make sense where you're putting the logo.
Okay.
And for the wedding, you know, invite, you could take some of the elements and then put it for your wedding day list on your seating chart or welcome sign or even the menus or the thank you note.
Nice.
You could use that same like little elements and make it across everywhere for your wedding.
Wow, that's great.
So it's like a little tidbit, but it goes a long way, the little details.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And
absolutely.
that's why the wedding invite is like the main event, basically. It creates the tone, it creates the theme, it brings everything to life.
Okay.
And then on your wedding day, you just take the good stuff and whatever you like from it, and then you just put on the menu, even the dance floor, like floor wraps, you could put it, whatever, but it sets the tone. And it even, besides important information on it, because it includes the date, time, all that stuff, it's also important to tell the guests indirectly what type of dress code to wear.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because let's say if you're beach wedding, right? The dress code, you're not gonna wear a tie.
No, you'll wear a bikini and you'll wear like a Speedo.
Or maybe more casual.
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
More casual, but let's say if your wedding's at a hotel or a venue, you're gonna wear like a suit, tie, a dress, longer dress, you know, and indirectly that's where you know where it is, right? So it gives indirectly like the theme and what to wear and what not to wear.
Okay.
It gives it, and without telling them, because I've seen online that people tell them like what the guests to wear, which is fine.
Oh, really? That's a thing?
Yeah, some couples I saw online, none of my couples did this, but some online I seen dress code, please wear black tie or formal.
Really?
So it's
I would love to get that, because the answer is sorry, can't make it.
No, you don't answer.
You don't
answer.
You don't answer, even better. But I've seen that, and I guess some couples want, I guess, their pictures to all look the same. Like, you know, if you're taking a picture, it's like everyone's wearing the same thing, so it's not going to be odd if someone's wearing a brighter color. But then again, maybe that person doesn't have that color in the wardrobe, right? So I don't know. I don't personally, for me, I wouldn't do that. I don't like that. I tell my couples it's really up to you, but hey, I suggest you don't go down that road.
Oh, wow.
Because remember, on the invite, right, you could have different parts to it. So you have your main invitation, then you have a card to RSVP, like meal choices, coming, kids, and then what some couples do is the detail cards. So let's say if you're having, again, let's say the beach wedding, and a lot of guests are out of town. So in the details card, you'd have like, let's say hotels nearby, or accommodations, or like what to do. But that's if you're really having a destination wedding.
Okay.
Like let's say if it's in Montreal in town, I really wouldn't suggest an extra card, because it's an extra thing and can weigh more. So when you're sending it, it's going to be heavy, right?
Okay.
So you have to look at how you want the presentation to look when they open it up, right?
Yeah.
So again, you can add a details card if you want. And I know some couples, what they're doing now is there's a QR code on their invite.
Yeah.
They scan it, and then it brings them to the RSVP page on, let's say, Donut or Wedding Wire. So the guest could automatically reserve but it's great in theory. But I always tell the couples I want to do is you could do it, but what happens if the code doesn't work, or if it gets wet and it doesn't read anymore, or or let's say in the mail for some reason something happens to it and it gets damaged.
You're right.
So,
That's true.
I mean,
These are things to consider.
So if the
Well, you can actually write under the barcode, can't you? Write, let's say, the website, the link.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do that, but the thing with that is like, let's say if the barcode's damaged and under it rips, let's say,
Okay,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, because Canada Post.
You
never
know,
what
good
happens to them.
good old Canada Post can't go wrong with them or any post service at this
The
point.
postal service in Canada is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
top notch.
It's okay.
best.
You'll get it.
At
Nobody really knows when, but it'll come to you.
But you will get it, I promise.
That's
You will.
it. Maybe after the wedding, you'll get that lovely message of all of.
By the way,
Too bad.
too bad, too sad.
Oh, I
Canada
could have
Post.
slept at that hotel right next to it because this details card had it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I didn't get it till 30 days later, and I booked a hotel
That's
fucking
right.
10 miles away.
Why did Canada Post not deliver? And I just live right next door.
By the way.
All right, enough with the Canada Post.
There
We're
you go.
fantastic.
So yeah. So again, you could do the code, the QR code, but again, it depends. But if you want to do the QR code, I suggest that you hand deliver it to the guest or you put it in the mailbox for
Okay.
them. But if you're inviting 200 people, it's gonna be a lot.
300 feet. That's a lot of
It's gonna be a lot
driving.
running around. But I'd say if you want to do it, like do it more for an intimate wedding.
Okay.
So you know the people, you can give it to them.
Yeah.
And you're not taking a chance because you never know, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you could do it, but let's say if the website is down or something, because you never know the server, right? Because it's a
It's
server.
true. A lot of things.
You're taking a risk. It's
Yeah.
really up to you, but that's more modern way of doing it.
How does, like, this is all cool and
Yeah.
very trendy. And
It is trendy.
And I'm a little bit older.
It's very trendy,
Wait,
yeah.
Hold a little
Because
bit.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, I mean, guests are not the guests at a wedding
Yeah.
are not. You're not inviting like people that you should kind of know them.
Yeah, that too.
So
You
it's
have
like,
to know your crowd.
You know,
Yeah.
if it
It's
gets
very true.
lost, I mean, and you can't call or get in touch with this person
Yeah.
in today's age, we have a problem here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't invite this person.
Yeah,
Like, it's,
it
I don't know.
depends. The QR code is good if you know your guests. Let's say if your guests, they're more on trend. Okay,
Yeah.
you could do it. But let's say if you have more old school or older folks, maybe
Yeah, like
See
my-
my parents.
maybe
Yeah.
it's best to. And what I suggest, let's say if you have grandparents or older folks,
Like, oh my
at the
God,
wedding,
like
I always say do it for them.
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
do it, or you have someone on their behalf do it.
Yeah, but what if they live across
Yeah,
the
or
country,
Or in that case, you just give them a call saying, "Hey, what do you want to eat? Are you coming?" And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
I
it.
would
that's
die
it.
of
Just
laughter.
end it.
Like-
I would love to videotape my parents receiving a barcode. But what is this thing?
But people, I seen it online. People do it,
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
I've seen it.
And one of my couples do it, and believe it or not, it worked perfectly.
That's great. So
It-
maybe it's a foolproof plan. Maybe it's like a cloud of sorts.
It's great, and it worked for the couple that I did the wedding invites with. It worked great for them. It worked perfectly, and I was happy that it worked for my client, of course.
Good, of course.
Like again, you're taking a chance, but in this case, it worked for
Yeah.
everyone. It was easy. No headaches, but they have the more traditional way where you have where it's a paper copy.
Oh my God.
And again, that is the way I prefer because you have an actual copy.
Yeah.
So let's say if your good old QR code cloud doesn't want to work that day when you want to check,
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
then
It's true.
I'd rather you have the actual paper
Proof.
with the names and so you can always refer back to it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So or what you do is you have another spreadsheet that you copied information on your PC, not on the cloud, if you want to be safe. So if
Yeah.
you can't access the website, you have your own copy.
Okay.
But that creates more work and more time. And
That's why you need
maybe-
a planner.
That's why you need
You
a
need a
planner.
planner. It's better that way.
To help with that part, of course.
Yeah.
But again, teach their own. But at the end of the day, I always prefer the paper.
Yeah.
Or the QR code if you're confident that your guests will feel comfortable using it.
I agree because let's say for example, if this I find it's the more modern,
Yes, it's the more
trendy thing
trendy.
where you can sort of say, okay, I want to keep tabs, and maybe as they enter the QR code, it also numbers it for
I
them.
think
So
you
it's
could-
like
I
a
didn't-
tally.
I didn't see how it was, but I know you could do the settings. I'm sure there's a
Oh,
way to set
yeah.
like different websites offered. Like one maybe has there's so many different configurations you
Yeah.
can do, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it tallies. I'm sure it does whatever you need. You have to program it ahead of time. So what you always do is if you're doing QR code, you do a test run before you make it public.
Yeah.
So before you send it out to your guests, try it out a few times, make sure it works. Once it's set, you send them out.
Now, do you know if there's a fee involved in that?
Some websites, I don't know which ones. I know some have a fee and some are free.
Oh, nice.
So you have to, if you don't want to pay a price, you look for the free ones.
You only see 62 ads
Yeah,
while you're trying to see
exactly.
who's coming to my wedding.
Yeah.
Oh, Sears or whatever.
Exactly.
Coca-Cola,
And
please
I
drink.
know, let's say with those RSVP QR code ones, is usually linked to a wedding website.
Okay. Oh,
So,
very smart.
I mean, wedding websites, I love and I hate them at the same time, okay? So let's say you spend hours with designing, because usually the wedding websites are free to do, but then some you pay to have the QR code already linked to your website. So let's say you do that, you design your wedding website, and basically that's another place where you can put the details. Instead of putting it on the invite, you have it on the wedding website.
Okay.
But let me tell you, most of the time, people don't look at all that, to be honest.
People don't browse and take time, really.
It's more trendy, but let's say if a grandparent or grandma, grandpa, great aunt, let's say they don't have access to internet or they don't know where to go, they won't see it.
Of course.
So you're looking at that trend again. If you know all your friends and family are going to look at it, then great. But it's more, again, I love and hate at the same time. But no one takes the time to browse. They just want to go scan, I'm having this,
That's it.
I'm coming. They don't take the time to look at everything.
Yeah, it's true.
And there's a good chance they're not going to look at the details, because they're going to call you or call someone in your family or ask, hey, where's the hotel?
What's the dress code?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So, and the wedding website is great, but again, it's a hit or miss.
Yeah.
So that's why I tell my couples, if you have one already, that's great. If you know your crowd's going to look at it and take the information, go for it. But if you know they're not, just do the QR code separately and that's it.
You know what?
Don't even.
Yeah, because there's a lot. I mean, it's not. It could be. People would use it as a fail-safe, right? So they don't have to tally themselves.
Exactly.
But in the end, if people don't use it,
They don't use it for the purpose of looking at everything.
because let's be honest, how often do you just stop at ads? Do you just
it's true.
scroll and scroll and scroll? I find that social media and ads and marketing, it's just a lot. You're so bombarded. So to
true.
sit there and actually read something,
Section
oh my God.
by
okay.
section.
Exactly.
And the only time I would suggest it is if you have a small wedding party. Let's say if you're doing an intimate wedding, let's say if 50 people do it, it's fine, it'll save time.
Yeah.
But if you have 200 people at your wedding, do you think all 200 people are going to go on your website, click every little tab, and
I want chicken.
exactly. Or details, where is it at, or it's a lot. So at that point, I say put it on the invite on a separate little paper, because they're going to get it.
Yeah.
And if they don't look at it there, well.
So back to the wedding stationery. Okay, so you had the save the date wedding stationery.
Yeah, the wedding invite.
Yes.
And now you're at the wedding day.
Okay.
So I'll give you an example. So let's say again, let's go to a beach wedding, okay?
Yay! I love going to the beach.
Let's just say hypothetical beach wedding. So let's say you don't want to put too much on your tables. So let's say you don't have that much space or whatever, right? That's where you focus on the paper goods wedding day stationery.
Yeah.
So your menus, your name, the escort cards. So you could put little details in there.
Nice.
So example, let's say which is more trendy now. Instead of having the menu,
Okay.
because your guests know what they're eating, right?
Okay.
It's not a restaurant. They know they're having fish, chicken, beef, whatever. So instead of doing a menu, more and more couples are opting for a wedding thank you note to thank their guests.
Okay.
So so you have your place setting, and then you have the thank you note on the seat. Yeah.
Really?
On the plate. So when your guests sit down, they'll see a pretty note. So let's say one side is your wedding logo or thank you, and then on the other side is the note. And I did it actually for a wedding, and it's the first time ever that I've seen people take it home actually.
Nice.
So a lot of people, and we're taking it with them home because it's a thank you note, personalized from the bride and groom. So in case if they don't have time to say thank you, or even if they do, it's a sweet gesture.
Yeah.
So let's say if you're different nationalities, different cultures, you could put in different languages, you know.
Oh, nice.
So you could really personalize that. And I find that's a trend for 2024. Even last year too, and I think it'll always follow, is to personalize little things.
Oh, nice.
So that's the fun thing when you're doing your wedding, like wedding day stationery, is you could take things from your invite. So let's say the floral pattern or design, put it there and then have your thank you note.
Oh
So
my
for
God.
every person will get a personalized from the bride and groom. So I think it's very cute. Or if you're more traditional, you could put the menu like first, second course and all that stuff.
I think that's really a passé composé type of idea.
I feel like that's leaving because it gives the chance for the guests to maybe change what they want to eat.
Yeah.
You're creating that, even though they know. Let's say they know they're having fish, but then they get the menu and they're like, the beef sounded better, but I picked fish.
Exactly.
So they could pull something on the side saying, hey, I know I put fish, but I want the beef. And then the staff is in an awkward position because you're like, well, this one at that table want fish, but not. And remember, the venue's counted for, right?
That's why they need the numbers. Yeah.
I mean, they have extras, but they don't have enough so everyone could change their food choice, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I tell couples, if you want this classic menu, that's fine. It's very classy, go for it. Or if you want to be more trendy, you could have the thank you note.
I think the thank you note it adds
it's a little personal touch.
I love the difference between men and women. I don't think I've noticed any of this, and I've done a million. I have fucking flowers on the same logo.
That's why you just show up.
The only thing I'll remember is that steak that I'm gonna have, or that
what
beef,
you want, the food, the ambiance, and that's it.
And where's the bar? Where's the bar?
Is it open?
Is it open? Bar,
Yeah, what time is it open?
That's it.
And then back to stationery, because I'm finished my train of thought. So you have all the little details, and I think that's what makes the difference is all the little details. And if you work with a custom, like a wedding stationery designer, you know, you could custom that. Like let's say nothing bad towards Vistaprint or anyone else. Minted, all great. But
very good.
But you can't customize it to a point where someone else not gonna have that. Because remember, Vistaprint is templates already pre-made. You just put the information in and that's it.
Okay.
And it's the same thing. So you're not really, if you don't care, you're not standing out, right? Or even Minted. Minted is great, but there's limitations too.
Okay.
So if you really want something super custom, wherever you're located, you could always go for the custom stationery designer, and they could work their magic, you know, and really make something unique.
Now, these sites, let's say Vista and Minted, do they also do it in different languages?
That's the thing.
See?
There's limitations to what you could do. So let's say maybe Vistaprint maybe doesn't have the thank you note option yet because it's very new. Maybe they do, maybe they don't.
Yeah.
You know, so it really depends what you're looking for, right?
Okay.
And these sites, they look for what does everyone want, right? What if everyone wants a thank you note, they're gonna go with that. But if not many customers are doing thank you notes, they'll stick with the classic menu. Which, like I said, classic menu is fine. There's nothing. It depends the style of wedding you want to have.
Yeah.
And that leads me to my next point: is the escort cards where your names are.
Okay.
So every table, let's say you have your tables, everything, and everyone, there's a place setting for each person. So you have your name, right?
Yeah.
So what the more trendy couples are doing is they have the name and what their meal option is like hidden, like an icon. Yeah. And more venues I've noticed are asking for that. So for the wait staff to make it easier, so they remember like, this person's let's say is vegan, so they know. Like,
that's intelligence.
It's hidden, or a color-coded little dot or something. Like very hidden, but like for the ones, like if you're looking for it, you'll find it. Like it depends again the type of wedding you're having, but more and more couples are opting because the venue's asking them to do it.
I guess that's more of like you said,
efficient.
It's an efficient thing, and they know who's having what.
And let's say the guests, they can't change their mind because it's already recorded. Like let's say it's like very hidden. Like let's say V for vegan, or if you're having chicken, a little chicken, or
a little chicken,
or a C, or a different, or even like a colored dot. So you could play with that too. It depends the venue or the caterer. If you're not having a wedding at the
Can you
venue,
put this? That's my cheap uncle who probably put $20 in the envelope. Give him a fucking piece of chicken nugget and that's it.
And for CN, chicken nugget.
or whatever the logo, whatever you decide to put for chicken. You could have a different sign, like a different little thing for everyone.
Okay.
All the choices, but that's. Again, everyone's different, or you put nothing in just the name, So, but more and more venue store are asking for some code identification.
I think that's a very wise
It makes it faster. They don't have to look. They're like, okay, just to cross-reference, It's all good. So I always recommend to my couples or anyone getting married, just do that. The venue will be very happy.
Okay.
They'll be very happy if you thought of them too, because without them, well, the wedding.
You're not eating.
You're not eating.
You're not having
right?
a reception. That's it.
So it's important to consider that too, right? Just where the names are, you just, each table and easy peasy.
Oh my God.
So it saves time for everyone.
So the whole package, okay, so the stationery package that people have to be aware of.
Yeah.
So it is the save the date.
Yes.
The wedding invite.
Yes. And then the wedding day goods, like the paper goods. So menu or thank you note.
Okay.
The escort cards with the names. And then you can even include like the welcome sign and the seating chart too.
Now, are these optional or is it something that is
So-
ideal or?
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Just a scenario. So let's go with your beach wedding again.
I want to go to the beach so we get married.
Since that's the vibe.
Yeah.
So let's say if you're having a very intimate, let's say if you're doing a wedding where, let's say it's a buffet style wedding, and no one had to pick a food choice, and everyone just serves themselves. You could technically not need a seating chart, because maybe in that case you're not gonna, it doesn't matter what people say because no one's eating a certain meal, right?
Yeah.
But let's say if you're doing a traditional sit-down menu, I always suggest have a seating chart in the front where you just walk in, so they know where they're sitting and is assigned seats.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So it depends the type. Haven't been, but I heard of weddings where the bride and groom sit is wherever people want to sit because it's a buffet style. You serve themselves.
Oh
You see
boy.
what I mean?
Oh
so
yeah.
it doesn't matter where you sit. It's just you serve yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's a buffet style, which could work well. Or then you have your more traditional wedding where you have a sit-down menu, you pick your food ahead of time, and then there's a seating chart to tell you where you're sitting.
I think that one is very
you see,
organized.
and it depends the type of flow of the wedding you want to have, right? It depends on that. But more couples opt for the seating chart option and a seated, plated
Of
wedding.
course.
And then welcome sign, you don't have to have one, but it's more cute to have one. And then you could copy the same design, let's say on your wedding, invite like the same style incorporated.
Oh, nice.
But just many different variations, like on seating chart, you could have your seating chart like on a foam board. Let's say, for example, again, you could get it made, printed, whatever. You could even have it on a mirror. So some rental companies, or you get it done, they have a mirror, let's say a gold tall mirror, and then they put the decals on for you and they bring it. It depends what your vibe is, what your style is. Like, I wouldn't have the golden mirror seating chart for a beach wedding. I'd have something more appropriate, like let's say on seashells or whatever board, like something that makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome sign you don't have to have, but I think it's just fun to have because, like, oh, welcome to your wedding, cute. And then, but seating chart is important if you're having a sit-down wedding because everyone's assigned a certain food, and just to organize everything for the venue for everyone is easier that way.
Now, how far in advance should all these stationery, all these invites be sent out? The save the date,
So I'll give you an example timeline, okay? I mean, everyone's different, things happen. So save the date, I always say as soon as you pick a wedding date, as soon as you get engaged, I say at least send it out a year in advance.
Okay.
So people have enough time to, and let's say, because remember, the save the date is just save our date. It doesn't give you information.
Yeah.
It's just say, hey, save our wedding date.
Yeah.
You're invited, meaning you're invited, save our date.
Yeah.
No, it's no information, just says you're invited, like save the date and the wedding
Don't go
date.
anywhere.
Yeah. So
that's it.
It's giving them saying, hey, you will get a formal, and then you put formal invitation to follow, so
Okay,
they know they'll be
perfect.
getting an invite.
Okay.
Right. So it's just saved it. I say a year in advance, so people know at least a year to mark it down, saying, hey, we'll be getting an invite.
Perfect.
So they
Makes
know.
sense.
wedding and the wedding invitation, and it depends. If you know all your guests are international, so let's say they live out of province, out of the country, I say give it to them 3 months in advance.
Okay.
So it has time to get there, and then they have time to send back before, because you never know with Post Canada, and
we never know.
Different
That's
posts,
true.
you don't take chances, right?
Yes, that's so true.
And let's say if it's in the country, right, I say 2 months in advance to send it, so there's enough buffer time in between for the deadline for them to send it back.
Okay.
Remember, you want to give as much time as possible, because it will happen that some guests won't answer on time for whatever reason, right? So it's good to have the buffer time, so when everyone gets it, when you get everyone's, you start adding them to the guest list, and then you go from there, right?
Perfect. Makes sense.
That's important. So then it comes down to the wedding day stationery. So for your wedding day, I say for, let's say, menus or thank you notes, is good to have it. So depending who you're working with or whatever, let's say if you're working with a custom stationery designer, they could show you the ideas ahead of time. You give them like the like what you want to write down, and then they'll print it for you.
Okay.
But the names, when it's all confirmed, again, you look at the styles, whatever, and then they'll print it for you. So I say to do that as soon as you start getting the RSVPs, you could contact them back, or if you're going to print it, I say at least a month in advance.
So how long should the delay be for an RSVP? How long should you give them? Because, some people...
I say realistically a week after. So
Okay.
let's say your deadline was March 10th, I say give it the week after, let's say, for example.
Okay. For all, let's say, 200, 300 people to come in?
Yeah.
Ooh.
You want to give them time, and again, it depends on a lot of things.
Yeah.
I say max 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because then you have to start prepping like how many to print, how many people. There's a lot of behind the scenes that you don't know what happens, right?
Yeah, nobody understands. Exactly.
So it's good to give buffer. I say a week, but again, maybe 2 weeks you're pushing it, know? And what you could always do is after the deadline, you could contact those people saying, hey, did you get it? Or just tell me on the phone and I'll take it down for you.
Yeah.
To save time, right?
Yeah.
It depends, your family, depends on a lot of stuff, but most of the time, just follow up with them after the deadline.
You know what you say? Your RSVP may have gotten lost in the mail.
Or did you change address? Like, you never know, right?
To be very subtle,
Exactly. So that's why you follow up with the guests, because then you have to tell stationery or you have to print, and it takes time, right? Usually they're fast. It's a template and you print it out. And remember, you want to get it at least a good 2 weeks before your wedding, all the printouts and everything.
Yeah.
So when it's time, you bring it to the venue, and then they take it from there, right?
Oh my God.
So yeah, because then after it's printed, so let's say your wedding's on a Saturday, let's say you see your venue the Thursday, you give everything they need to put on the tables or like if you're renting if you're not renting, like thank you gifts, whatever, you give it to the venue 2 days before the wedding, basically.
Okay.
So you want to have enough time to give it, that you're not rushing to give it to them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of behind the scenes that you don't know. So that's why it's important to follow up and have enough buffer time to make sure that you have enough time to print everything, because the numbers change too, right? Like the quantities. Let's say if you invited 180 people to your wedding or 200, and only let's say 150 show up, the price quantity could change a bit.
Yeah, well, it's true.
Not that much, but it could vary, right?
Yeah.
Depends on the quantity.
Well, there'll be extra chicken.
Yeah, exactly. Have an extra piece or two
There you
chicken.
go. They can't say no.
They can feed the vendors.
That's
Yes.
Extra for the vendors, problem solved.
Hey, there you go.
But definitely, that's why it's important, because some guests don't realize how much, like when the deadline is there, what's after,
Yeah.
And it's important to work with a vendor that could do within the time frame, because the vendor will say, hey, my deadline is this day the max. Okay, so you play around with that.
Okay.
So it's important to work with a good vendor that knows, like, hey, there will be delays, but they can still get it on time.
Oh, very
Val, quick question
Yes.
for you. Before we go on to our next segment.
Yes.
On a scale of importance and priority.
Okay.
Because there's so many things.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is stationery? Like, is it like third in line after, venue, date, venue, music,
I want to say it's first the venue, right? That's
Yeah,
the top.
that's guaranteed.
Then your DJ / entertainment, like photographer, DJ, and then stationery, because you have to send those save the dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you book your venue first, and then literally you could start on the save the dates, because if it's booked, confirmed, you send out those save the dates, and you start that process.
No, this 20 years ago, I don't think anyone had any of this. I got a save the date this week
Oh,
from a
okay.
cousin in Toronto.
Ah,
I was like,
okay.
where's the wedding? And I
save
think
the-
my wife said, no, it's a save the date.
It's
To
just-
let
yeah.
you know about.
It's the date to be
I was like,
saved.
usually they called me and they say, hey.
Are you ready? Are you available?
Yeah, hold that date in October because,
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, okay.
Exactly,
I never
and-
knew this is new.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
save
okay.
the date, and then what you have is also the online save the date. So a little more trendy, but
Yeah.
you could have everyone's email address if everyone has a valid email address.
And
send
Yeah,
it.
like my nonna, 90 years
Yeah.
old, has an address, you know?
You know, but it's more for the on trend, and if you know your guests will get it on time, you know, the email. So it
Makes
depends.
Stationery is
sense.
important. Cool.
Yeah, stationery plays.
No, I mean, you know.
Of course.
I would've-
I would say it's important.
I would be like, planner, it's all yours.
Yes.
That's
Pick
it.
whatever.
It's
Hardcore.
it's some clients, you know, I work closely with them on the design, because then we could do different decor options based on the theme, right?
Yeah.
It plays. So let's say if your theme is by the beach,
Yeah.
and then you want the blues, the silvers, the softer colors, even the golds, whatever. And let's say if you do your, I don't know, your save the date or your wedding in gold, it's gonna clash, you know.
Yeah,
So on
yeah.
the decor, like you have to, it all has to tie in.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. So if you're
You're not color coordinated, you're done.
it doesn't have to be matchy,
Yeah.
but it has to play together. Let's say if your theme is like the pinks, gold, the rose golds, but not silver. Don't mix both. It's gonna clash.
Okay.
But you have to play with the colors. So it's very important. Colors play a big part from literally decor, design, venue, stationery. It all plays a part, and there's great vendors out there in your city that could do this for you. Or if you want, Vistaprint is great. I'm just saying, I get my business cards from there, okay? So it works for that. But I'm just saying, if you want something really custom and really unique, you're not gonna get on Vistaprint. That's
No.
not gonna happen.
Well.
So do we
That's
get to
interesting.
our
The
song
song
of the
Yeah,
week?
I want
Let
to
me
know what
just
the song is. I
check
love
it
this
I
segment
out.
want to
too.
know what love is.
I
Let
want
me
to know.
check my phone just to make sure if I forgot the song. So the song of the week is "Heaven" by Cascada.
Ooh.
So I forget the singer. She's a more modern singer. You know,
Yeah.
like it's like "Evacuate the Dance Floor." That singer.
Yeah,
Cascada.
yeah.
So she sings a song named called "Heaven," and I
It's a
think
slow?
it's slow. I
Oh.
forget the version because I couldn't find on YouTube the version.
uh-huh.
I think it's like the Brian Adams "Heaven," but her version. I think.
Oh.
So it's slowed,
I love that
but
song.
more like high pitch.
It took over Brian Adams because
Well,
that was a classic.
well, I
wedding
It's
like
still
song.
a
Bryan
classic. My dad
Absolutely.
likes Brian Adams, so I know the song very well.
My dad, what?
He likes
You're showing off your age
I
because
love-
I love Brian Adams. One of the first concerts I saw was Brian Adams.
Really?
Yeah,
He's
good in concert.
absolutely.
He was
I,
Great.
I wouldn't know.
She's like,
I wouldn't
I don't know because he's like
timers.
80
But the point is, so I believe is that version by Cascada.
by Cascada.
Nice.
Okay.
If I'm not
Cool. Very
mistaken,
nice.
it's a very nice song. I remember hearing it once, but I couldn't find the
It's
exact
like a piano
name.
version, if I'm not
It
mistaken.
could be. I don't. It's
think I
not
heard it.
played anymore, but I know what like it had a time. But I think it'll definitely make a comeback.
Nice.
And I feel like now for weddings, there's like more versions of an old song that are being brought
There's
back.
no new
Yeah.
songs being written. They just
Yeah,
steal
it's
old
just a
songs.
copy,
Right? Whatever.
but their version. But it's a very nice song. So if you're looking for something modern or out of the box, definitely it's a good option.
I
for you.
love it. Oh my God.
It's a
I'm
fun one.
It is. It sounds fun. I
For
like
sure.
it. And now we're going to go on to the most special
Oh,
segment,
yes.
which is
The-
your thought, your Val's thought.
Yes, I have a lot.
Hold on. Look into camera 1 and give your thought. Camera 1 would be that one
Yes.
there. First
So-
one you look, and Val's thought of the day is.
Yes, so it's a little. So there's this post online, okay, that made it. So basically, this person posted, and I'll read it out, that made it viral. So it has to do with RSVPs for a wedding.
Oh.
So in what I understood of this, and you could Google it, I'm sure it'll still pop up because it's only been 8 days. So clearly, this person missed the RSVP deadline to, I guess, a wedding. So the bride and groom sent them this memo, and I'll read it to you, word for word. So basically, it says, "We're sorry you can't make it to our wedding. Our RSVP deadline has passed, and you unfortunately did not respond. We would have loved to have you attend, but final numbers have been turned in, and your presence will be missed. Bride and groom."
Wow.
So apparently, this message was sent to people that missed the RSVP deadline, and it did cause a stir online, rightfully so.
Yes.
So what I think what happened is that this person that made it viral, because of obvious reasons, either the bride and groom, and doesn't say in the story, maybe others might elaborate more than the one where I found it from, but maybe the bride and groom maybe sent it out late, the wedding invite, and they're crunching for time, and that's why maybe the venue is saying, hey, we need the numbers. I don't know the full context. Or B, maybe for whatever reason, too bad.
They missed the deadline.
They missed the deadline. And as a wedding planner, you know, I make sure that my couples do follow a certain schedule on purpose. But sometimes you can't do anything about it. Like in this case, it is unfortunate. You know, I have to say it is one way of being very bold and direct. And it's not I find etiquette-wise is a little harsh. But everyone has their opinion, but clearly online there's sides.
Of course.
You know, a lot of people took the bride and groom side. A lot of people took the guest side, saying what happens if they're in the hospital? What happens if it got lost in the mail?
Of course.
Or what happens if the bride and groom messed up the deadline? I don't know.
Maybe the address was wrong.
Who knows?
Who knows?
So again,
postal code?
I always tell my clients, send it early so you could avoid, you know. And even if a guest misses it, if you don't have the number, email them. Just say, hey, the deadline was, let's say, 2 days ago. Did you send it? Okay, great, thank you. You know, or give it to me now, what you want. We'll save
and
time.
we'll get it. When we get it.
Exactly. Because this way, I get it. There's deadlines, numbers, but I don't know the full context. But I just thought it was interesting how much of hysteria is causing online.
Of course, I think.
Lisa, hold on. Your response to the thought of the day.
My response to that is, I think, I mean, like you said, we don't know the full context of it, but I think in doing something, you know, something like that in general, I think, you know, there should have been a little bit more time, maybe care taken if you are slighted, maybe somebody important that you really wanted at that event. We don't know if that was the person. Could have been a family member, could have been a best friend. We don't know. Maybe the friend went on vacation. So it could be, if it's within that context, I think maybe a little bit more of a tender approach, but a very
more understanding
approach. However, you have to convey the message that you're not very happy because to you it was a disrespectful gesture, not to be, you know, especially if you sent a save the date a year ahead.
Or even
and they were aware.
Exactly.
If they were not aware, maybe it was misplaced by Canada Post, as could happen.
Or the U.S. Post.
Or the U.S. or whichever post. You know, that in itself is, you know, an accident. And because you as the receiver, the bride and the groom, if you do not know the context, you know, that's one story, and that's something that's, for my opinion, of course, it could be worded differently.
Or even in that case, sorry to cut you off, but maybe even ask your parents to give them a call if you feel uncomfortable.
Of course, if it's a family member, sure.
If you're not confrontational, maybe your parents or your close could call saying, hey, you know, whatever. If you feel uncomfortable to deliver that message.
Well, now there's my thoughts.
Yes.
I need to chime in here. I have to chime in. For me, I think it's I'm going to be harsh on this. I'm going to be just as harsh.
Go for it.
Get your head out of your fucking ass. That's the first thing. That's how I'm going to look at it. Because you know what? This has been going on for years. Right? If you don't know that about 5 to 10% of your invitees are not going to answer, then you're the moron. Sorry, like in the sense that it's gonna happen,
like it or not.
like it or
gonna
not.
happen.
And you know what? Do not. Why are you getting offended?
Yeah.
Your wedding is the most important.
It
day.
is
It
of
is.
your life.
Of your life
by far.
And
in
I
some
understand
places.
that, but there's understanding on both ways.
Yeah.
So a family man, a family mother, single parent, kids. You don't know, so
It's
it's
true.
Exactly.
probably not done on purpose. I have forgotten, and again, not because I want to forget. It's just
life gets in the
I
way.
have to answer that thing. I have to answer
Yeah.
that thing. But life is very stressful for everybody.
It's true, yeah.
Right, so just like, why can't you be under, like, to you, you're looking at it, my wedding is the most important, and if you don't care like I care, I do care, but I gotta put food on the table
There's
right now.
priorities, yeah.
And I'm at work doing a 12-hour shift,
Yeah.
so your date slipped out of my mind, and it just happens, and if it's too hard for you to call
Yeah.
or say, hey,
Exactly.
And I know in some cases, some of the guests called the bridegroom saying, hey, I forgot, this is what okay.
Yeah.
It could, either way.
It happens. It does happen.
And
We're not
again,
robots.
You
Right.
have to expect it
Exactly.
to happen. You've got
Like
to
it or not,
understand
it's
there's-
part of the game.
It's the hall is there's gonna be one mess up somewhere, minor, but still, it's gonna, a glass might drop.
I was gonna
It's
say
not
that, a
the
glass
end of
of
the,
fruit,
you might
Things
spill-
happen.
Yeah.
Things
You
happen.
have Tide to go. That's why you bring a Tide to go with
That's
you,
it.
Right?
and you're set.
It's like you can't be, you can't say, it's gonna happen. If it happens for a birthday party,
Yeah.
and it's happened all your life.
Yeah.
Every time you've
It's
done something,
true.
you could invite 6 friends, and there's gonna be one who's gonna wait till the last second,
The last day,
or
last
the
hour.
last day, or the next day, and then you're gonna say, "Oh,
There's a
sorry,
procrastinator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it happens."
And I get, people get busy for sure, but I always tell my clients, like, things happen, you don't know. You send it early as you can, but I'd understand if someone forgot, you call, but no answer. That's, you take it from
take it for
there.
what it
And
is.
let's face
Yeah.
it. Let's face
Yeah.
it. If you call the caterer, like if I call my caterer,
Yeah.
and even if it's the night fucking before,
Yeah.
and I say, "Oh my God, my cousin Jill and his 2 kids, fucking the letter, I just got it.
Yeah.
It was stuck. I didn't know.
The border.
Can you just bring in 2 extra?" If he gives you shit, or if
Well-
the venue gives you shit, then it's like, you know what? But you picked the wrong venue, and
Yep.
that business is gonna go downhill because
At some point,
Yeah.
right,
yeah.
it's not gonna change anyone's life.
Any good venues is accommodating.
Of course,
Like
it's
they
not-
have, because things happen.
know.
Yeah.
And even I remember I did some weddings last year. People had to cancel last minute, unfortunately.
It happens.
And I told them, they're like, okay, so we just crossed them out.
I did a wedding without the groom.
Yeah, that's
it's
the
He
true.
didn't
COVID.
show up
It's
because he
true.
had
Yeah.
COVID.
The COVID
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Shit happens,
Yeah,
man.
so there you go. Things
That's it.
happen, like it or not. It happens.
It
You
does.
make the best of it.
You make the best of it. That's it. And then, you move on. You move on.
But
and
you see, when you hire Val, and you can send a message on
Yeah.
Wedding Chimes with Val or whatever, Vintage Lux events, of course.
Yes.
When you hire, she gives you because she's done so many, she knows, hey, look, this is a
ins and
like
outs.
she
Exactly.
said
Yeah.
with the stationery. If you do this can happen. So just to let you know, so it's not
Yeah.
a shock, right? When you deal with someone that always does these weddings,
Yeah.
you know what can happen.
And
hey,
we have
these people
and we
might not
have
answer.
the venue coordinator or manager usually on herself, like we have them
Yeah,
in
of
close
course,
proximity
you know, so-
to make sure it's easier to get
it's
the
an easy
message.
transition. That's
People in the
Exactly.
business know what could happen and what doesn't
Exactly.
happen, and people that don't have no clue.
Exactly
Right,
that.
so
Yeah.
so we can I say I know certain things, but some people like Valerie, of course, you can help them, guide them, and say you
In
can
the
do
right
that.
direction.
But if that happens, I just want to let you know that this can happen, and if it does, it's going to delay this, that, and the other
Exactly.
thing, right?
And
So-
you know what? I find the wedding planner has more of a leverage. You have more of a leverage
In a
because
way,
you have
yeah.
more of the contact.
Yeah.
And as a couple, listening to a wedding planner who has the experience, you stop and you say, "Oh, wait a second.
I didn't think of it
she,
like
I
that
didn't think
way,"
of it,
or-
and she knows what she's doing, right?" So that's it.
That's
I
it.
think.
I think we covered it. Yeah.
I think we covered the stationery, and
Yes.
just really opened my eyes. And wow,
Episode number
it
5
is,
yes,
in the
it is
book,
important.
stationery.
Yes. Thanks, guys, for
Thank you.
tuning in.
Yes, thank you for tuning in as always. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, on Spotify, YouTube. We're everywhere.
We're
So
everywhere. You
you'll
have to look
find-
on Facebook because
find
she's
us.
everywhere.
Instagram,
Instagram,
whatever.
you'll
Spotify.
find me.
If you
Yes.
don't have time to watch it, I mean, who doesn't want to watch you guys? Honestly, like, come on, let's be honest. But if you can't, you can pop it on in the car. You put Spotify. You can just listen to all the great advice and enjoy it.
Yeah, while you're on your way to your wedding boutique or your stationery store.
Exactly.
There you go.
Problem solved.
Thanks, Chimers.
Thank you, Chimers.
Next episode soon.